Welcome to Built to Win, the podcast created to help you level up your business game by developing a success mindset made for the long run. In this episode, Neora's Dave Fleming talks with top global network marketing leaders Aaron Dinh and Cathy Ngo, who share how their lives were transformed by the world of network marketing. In this episode, they share what they've learned and how Neora helped them build the life of their dreams.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Built to Win. I am excited to be back here with you. I've got two of my favorite people, two very special guests with me today, Aaron Dinh and Cathy Ngo, who are a couple out in California. And I've gotten to know over the last few years and just absolutely incredible entrepreneurs, business people, and just always positive, always looking for the upside in things. And I'm thrilled to have you guys on the podcast today. So thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, Dave.
Yeah, you bet. For those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are. Like, where do you live? What's your family like? What are you guys doing right now?
Well, we're in beautiful Sunnyside, Northern California. If you've never visited, you need to. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're very blessed to be here, and we have a 2-year-old and an 11-year-old that's not graduating, but she's finishing her
sixth grade
today. So we're pretty busy with family, and that's kind of how we like it.
Definitely with a 2-year-old. For the ones that have boys, you guys know, I mean, these two are opposite, like they're totally opposite. Our daughter was like a breeze. She's listened to everything, quiet. And then this little one, just a little monster. I mean, nonstop. So we are blessed. I mean, we're so grateful that we have the time to spend time with them and, and really take it all in, right? Embrace the time that we have with them before they want to hang out with their friends.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know my kids are on a little, well, they're ahead of where your kids are. So They're moving out, they're going to college. My youngest is 14, so we're trying to suck up as much time as she'll give us right now, because we know that day's coming pretty soon. But that's cool, and it's cool that you guys are. I know you guys are great parents. You spend a lot of time with your kids, and it's really cool. A lot of our listeners are parents, and we sometimes get into parenting on this podcast as well. But kind of a natural extension of us as people. But we met through Neora. And you've been here a little bit longer than I have been. I've been here almost about 3 years, but we've done some really cool stuff. We've been to Australia together. We've been to Hawaii together. I was like looking at all, like most of the time that we see each other is in a foreign country, like Mexico or Australia. So it's more common that we're together internationally than we are locally. So that's kind of fun. But tell me a little bit about how you got into Neora and what that was like.
Well, both of us have different perspectives.
Or a completely different story or background, I guess, right? Because Cathy came from absolutely no relationship marketing, nothing that has to do with network marketing. So she didn't know about this world.
Yeah. And I wasn't looking, right? And just because I was with Aaron and he kind of led me into this industry, and that's how I got started. So it was a blessing in disguise, because even though I wasn't looking, I was looking for something like this. I just didn't know.
Yeah, well, I guess she didn't know what the business, what entitled her, right? What it can kind of yield, the freedom or the flexibility to be with family, the traveling. That's one of the things that she mentioned to me. Cathy's background is in accounting. So when we first met, she wanted to okay, I want to travel. I want to do all these things. I'm like, okay, perfect. And I said, well, my background, I've been in this industry for going on 3 decades now. So I can say that I guess my background is I'm a professional network marketer. That's what I do, right? But even before network marketing, I came into this industry because I was in the tech world, working in the technology industry, corporate technology. And what I was doing didn't connect. It didn't connect to my purpose. It didn't connect to my vision. It was a great job, but I also wanted to be able to travel and help people and have that time to be with my family. And I didn't see that in the corporate world. So I fell into the industry on a complete accident. I was that guy that no one approached. A complete stranger met me and shared with me a concept, brought me into an event. At that event, I thought it was a big open house. I didn't know it was network marketing. I saw some people on stage sharing their stories. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do well here. And I decided to get started, and the rest was history. So I've been in this industry for quite some time. I've been a part of multiple companies, but nothing quite like Neora. I fell into Neora. We were a top income earner in another company, and we were going to just completely walk away from the industry. We were
pretty much retire. I mean,
yeah,
we just
retire.
had our baby girl. She's like about 2 years old at that time. And I still remember, you know, when Aaron came home and he just like, okay, we found the home. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, we're going to do this all over again.
Yeah.
From scratch. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we have a 2-year-old and we're going to go on this journey again. Yeah. From scratch. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be crazy.
Well, I think that when you really look deeper into Neora, into the company, you'll see that lots of things starts to align, and that's what happened with me. Like I said, we did well in our last company, but every company I was a part of always felt like it was missing something. And with Neora, the compensation plan that doesn't have any gotchas, you're not matching legs, you're not doing any of these different things. So I felt that it was a system that was fair, that anyone can be successful at. You didn't have to have experience there. Anybody can do it. The other side of it all was I saw a company that was on momentum, because we came into the company when it was 3 years old. And the company was on momentum, but it did all of its success just in the US. And we decided, I decided basically, really, and then I told Cathy about it, to take on this challenge to bring the company internationally. And that has always kind of been our focus, to really kind of expand the company and bring it internationally. What's so great about it in the US, let's take that and move it to the other markets. And that's one of the reasons why we get along so well. Dave, of course, we've seen each other in multiple markets already, and we spend most of our time in the international markets with you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. No, and it is great. I think that's one of the things. I'm curious, Cathy, because you said, you know, you're coming from a little bit of a different background than Aaron is. Like you're in the accounting and the finance world. Have you ever been introduced to direct selling or network marketing prior to Aaron? Or
actually, no.
No, you have.
Well,
you have.
Yes and no. You know, I had a college roommate that was in network marketing, and she never shared it with me. Like, so I was overlooked. And it was never. I just don't know why. I mean, I'm the type of friend that would say yes, but I was overlooked. But I think it was after high school. After high school, one of my close friends, she did one of the financials company, and I just got a bad taste, because the way that they invite was, she gave my number to somebody else, and somebody else called me and pretend it was like an interview for me to come in. And when I came in, I was like, this is not a job interview. And that really deterred me to really look into the industry and what is all this all about. But yeah, I was overlooked by my college roommate that never thought that I would be good at this, I guess.
Yeah, she missed out, didn't she? You guys.
Well, I mean, I think it's the same landmine that everyone steps on, right? They overlook or they prejudge, and that's the same thing. I had a great career in the corporate world, and they just thought I wouldn't do it. Yeah. And this was exactly what I was looking for my entire life, and no one approached me, no one shared it with me, and that's what it is. It's that you cannot prejudge. The people who you think won't do it will, and the people who you think will do it won't.
Yeah, and I want to dive into that a little bit, because I think there's a lot of people out there that maybe not a lot of people out there, but it seems like sometimes people think like, oh, people who do network marketing and direct selling is that's all they can do, or that's all that they know how to do. When in reality, you see a lot of people, very successful entrepreneurs, who are also successful here, or they're very successful here and then become very successful entrepreneurs in other businesses as well. And so I don't like you, obviously, like you guys were very successful outside of direct selling, and then have been very successful inside direct selling. So like, why do you think it is that some people look at it and say, "Oh, it's it's for the people that aren't successful that do that and then become success," or it is, or am I misreading that entirely?
I It could be. I mean, I've never really kind of see it from that perspective, but I think that from my experience being in this industry, you bring you with you. Uh,
Hmm.
and what that means is that if you have a friend you have that guy that's sleeping on your couch that doesn't want to do anything, that is that that's his character or his habits, you bring him into any business, then he'll have the same type of results. But so for us, we tend to approach people that are busy, that are successful, that are, yeah, you think that they won't do it, but you have to understand they're successful for a reason. It's
Hmm.
because who they are and the person that they've become and the habits that they carry and the character that they are. And if you bring them into the business, they'll bring that same energy into the business. So that's why this business attracts a lot of successful people prior already too, as well, that as you do attract the people that are not experienced in the business.
Yeah, no, that's great. You said that much more eloquently than I was trying to get it across. So thank you for that. And I want to know, as because as a successful person, and you said, successful people are frequently busy. And so what was it about direct selling, network marketing that was attractive to you? I know you mentioned travel, you mentioned like doing certain things. Did you see that as a possibility here, or was it the direct selling business itself that provided those things for you?
Yeah. My story is I was in the audience, and it wasn't I was when I first was exposed to the industry, just like most people, I was hearing all these noises in the back of my head on the side, right? And I was hearing noises from family and friends that they're telling me, don't do it. Don't do one of those things, right? Where you're
Yeah.
going door to door, you're selling the knife that cuts through the shoe, then do the tomato, or you're
Yeah.
selling the vacuum cleaner that sucks up the bowling ball and shoots out the goldfish, right? That's
Right. Yeah. If you haven't bought a vacuum from a door-to-door guy, like are you really even trying at life? But yeah, go on.
But what really changed it for me, and I think maybe this is what that blessing for myself was. I was in the audience and at an event, and there were the people that were at the front, the people that were top earners in that company, went on stage and shared their story. And when they shared their story, I recognized that these were average people to begin with, and I knew that if they could do it, so could I.
Hmm.
Hard work wasn't something I was afraid of, and being coachable and learning was something that I was that was a part of me. So I say I can learn this, I can change my attitude, I can shift what I need to shift to do what I need to do to get from the back row to the front row.
As for me, coming from a corporate world, and watching, because I'm going to tell you to be honest truth. In the beginning, I was very supportive, but I wasn't supportive. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people know.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you my side. So after we became top earners and all these different things, and it's been almost a decade. Then one day we were driving by the airport this one time, and she's just like, "Hey, by the way, I just want to tell you something." I said, "Okay, what is it?" And she says, "Remember back then when I said I was supportive and I believed in you? I really only said that. I didn't truly believe that this would work." And then now, of course, we've traveled around the world
Yeah.
and done so much,
I
right?
mean, coming from the background of corporate world, that's all I knew. I was born and raised to go to school, get good grades, and get that corporate job, and that's what I did, and
Hmm.
I did really well at it. So that's all I knew. But what watching Aaron building this business, seeing him travel, seeing him, connecting with people and building people up and all that stuff, and I'm like, and I see him travel like 3 4 times a year, and where I'm like stuck 9 to 5 every day, and you get 1 week vacation. And that was just like, wow, there is something else out there. And that's what really opened my eyes to the industry, was the possibility of a different lifestyle. And there's so much that
Yeah.
we have done because of this industry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's and I think a lot of people are exactly that way, Kathy. They're like, go get a good job, like do your 9 to 5, and that's kind of the expectation, and you don't really think about doing more than that. Like business ownership is risky, and we've talked about this on this podcast before. But you don't want to fail at something, you don't want to risk everything, and then you've got this where you don't have to risk everything, and you as long as you're willing to work and learn how to do this business, you can be wildly successful in it. I'm curious, like, at any point did you, Kathy, like start to like lean into the business as well, or how do you divide like who's doing what in the business? I know you guys have a pretty good
Well,
dynamic now.
as you know, Aaron is he has the charisma and he's the presenter. So I never felt like I was good enough to kind of present. So I always stayed in the background and kind of did the back office stuff. But what really opened me up to really be in front was because of Neora. Because when I saw Neora and how easy it is, where I'm not presenting, I'm not selling, I'm just sharing and just utilize the tools that we have. That's what sold me, and that's what really opened me up to lead in the front and not stay in the background.
Yeah, and I think that some of that hesitation also
Mm-hmm.
because the company that we were a part of prior, and not to say anything
Mhm.
wrong with it, it was a great company in that sense, but because it was a nutritional company, it was supplementation. You had to be on stage speaking about nutrition and all the science behind it and all those different things for 2 hours or so. So she
Right.
never felt that she could do that. And it wasn't until we transitioned here where it was about not saying anything and
Mm-hmm.
pointing toward a third party or a tool.
That totally makes sense because I think that's where a lot of people are kind of nervous or
Mm-hmm.
apprehensive about getting into this business because they think they have to become that person that speaks in front of people that's set, like you said, Kathy, they're selling instead of just sharing something that that's benefited their life. But I am curious because Aaron, you mentioned, you went to a meeting and you were sitting in the audience and then became top income earners. You're the couple that's on or Aaron's on stage presenting, like doing a lot of those presentations, public speaking, and all of that. What was it that you did to move from being an audience member to being the guy in the front of the room?
Um, I would say probably being uncomfortable, getting out of the known zone. I remember my first time, I guess, really public speaking is our first presentation. It was at our 2 bedroom apartment. I had 4 people sitting on the futon. I wasn't on stage. I was on the other side of the futon, on the other side of the coffee table. I stood up, my mind sat back down, and I'm like, "What do you want to know?" And I was just horrible at it, and yet all 4 people joined. They must have thought like, if this guy can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
So can I. I knew that it was about getting through with the sucky. That's what I call it. Like
Okay.
you'll suck at first, but you gotta get through those moments, going through that. And it was always about, even though I didn't want to, I went on stage anyway. Even though I didn't want to have an event, I did the event anyway. Even though it was always about going outside of that known zone and that comfort zone. So I'm
Yeah.
going on stage and all those different things. I think that's just what it is. It's just volume. The business is just volume. The more you do it, the better you become, right? And it's funny that I have this saying that I always say. I say practice. They always say practice makes perfect, and I don't believe that. I believe that practice makes improvement. We can always become better. And it's funny that my daughter takes on these philosophies that I have, and she goes to school, and her friends like, "Oh, practice makes perfect." She goes, "No, my dad says practice makes improvement. You can always be better." And then the coach is like, "You should be coaching."
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So were there certain skills that you had to learn? So obviously like presenting is one of them that you've learned. Were there other skills that you had to learn in order to be successful in this business? Or
There's
did it kind of come naturally?
always, right? There's
Yeah, and
always.
anything we do,
Well, I
there's
think
always
I think one of
something.
the reasons why we love this business so
Yeah.
much is that the learning never stops here. I
Mm.
came into this industry 30 years ago as a student, and I'll leave this planet as a student, right? There's always something that we're learning and to improving because it's always about improving, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
perfection. It's always about getting better. So learning to communicate, learning to speak on stage, learning to connect with people, all these different things. But I think that's one of the biggest things why we love this business so much, is just because everyone is different, and that's what makes it interesting, right? Like it's the whole point. Like it's never a dull moment, that you're always connecting, and we get to travel around the world and meet all these new people, and it's just something I said, when we tell somebody, I tell somebody that I've been in this industry for 3 decades, they're like, oh my gosh. And for me, I still remember sitting all the way in the audience, way at the back. I was negative, my arms crossed, legs crossed, eyes was crossed, right? And I
Yeah.
was just skeptical. And to see where we are today, that's one thing I always remember where I came from. So I'll never have that ego. I'll never have that other side. Because I always say your ego's not your amigo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we keep things basic. We always, we always try to make it as simple as possible, but adapting and growing. That's, I think, one of the biggest reasons why we're where we're at.
And also embracing the journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Embracing the journey, embracing the ups and downs, embracing the flaws, the suckiness, the ones that didn't make it, all that stuff. We just gotta, when we learn to embrace it, it becomes easier.
Yeah, as I think maybe because we're field leaders, right? We're not the leadership that's on the stand telling people what to do. We want to be on the field with them, and we enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's nice that we're on top, and if you're on top of the mountain, that's kind of great. But I enjoyed the climb. I enjoyed the journey, and that's where all the memories are created. And I see our team sometimes, they're like, "Oh, I wish we were where you at." Well, I'll say, well, you have to go through a process, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no testimony without the test. What would you say on stage? What would your journey be?
Yeah.
Something we always kind of really push onto the team, that to be grateful. And if you're in a challenge, that challenge is meant for you. You're meant to grow from that challenge. So take it in, take the lesson in. If you don't take the lesson in, it repeats itself. But if you can take the lesson in, then you get to grow to the next level. Like a video game, you get to kind of go to the next level.
And I love that. I love that because it is the journey. Like, and there's so many cliches out there. Like, if it's worth doing, like anything worth doing is going to be difficult to do. And I think a lot of people hear that, they don't necessarily internalize that, and they want a shortcut. They want to jump to the end. They want to get to the good parts. And I love what you said about, the good parts are along the way. The good part, like the journey is one of the good parts, like as you become a better version of yourself. Unless are there any shortcuts in this business, or what I'm hearing is no, probably not.
I mean, there are shortcuts, but shortcuts lead to nothing, right? I always say fast cash is fast crash, right? You have to build that foundation. You have to go through that process. So, I mean, when we were invited to be on this call, and from you, Dave, and we're just like, oh, we love this stuff because there's nothing for us to rehearse. We've already been through the process. They're always like, do you guys need the question? We don't need the question. Like we've been through we know the answer because we've already gone through the journey. So that's one of the things. So that's why I say foundation is so key, and keeping things simple and basic is really the secret. I think that the more simple you create a system, the more advanced it is.
Yeah, totally agree. It is so easy to complicate things, and it's so natural to do it because you want to add this, you want to add that, and all of a sudden you've complicated things to where the point where somebody looking at it going, I cannot do that. I could not do what you do. It's too complicated. So I love that you brought that up too.
Another secret or shortcut for me, if I took it on early on, because in the beginning I was fighting Aaron on a lot of advice that he was telling me. So it took me a long time to let go of my old thinkings and all that stuff. So the shortcut is really be coachable. Come in, be coachable, learn what needs to be learned, and enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Well, it's something I always say, right? How do you get smarter without getting older? How do you get wiser without getting older, right? Learn from someone who's already done it. Something that when I coach somebody, I always tell them, before I start coaching you, you need to empty out your cup. some people, their cup is just too full that there's nothing that can kind of go in. So you got to empty a lot of that stuff out. So the business is very simple, right? Not easy, but simple to learn. But the more challenging part is the unlearning that you have to do with some of the things that you work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because people come into the business like this one with a lot of kind of, I think, assumptions, and a lot of those assumptions are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of have to deprogram a little bit and be coachable if you're going to if you're going to be really, really successful in this. Because I think one of the hardest parts in this business is people think that, like, they look at you guys, they look at, oh, Aaron and Kathy are so good at what they do, and they don't necessarily realize that you had to learn this business just like everybody else. Like, it wasn't a natural kind of, you didn't like just become great at this. Like, it was like you said earlier, it was a journey. And if you're not willing to go through that journey, you're not going to get to the top. And I think that the sooner people realize that, and it sounds like Kathy, you kind of said that also, but the sooner you realize that, then the sooner you can start moving along that pathway towards success. I'm curious. So you've been doing this for a while, Aaron. You've been said almost 3 decades, which is hard to believe that you even have three decades behind you. But what? Well, I'll ask this, two sides of the same question. But what is the hardest part about doing what you do, and then also what's your favorite part about doing what you do?
Well,
Well, I think the stage that we're at, I don't think anything is really kind of hard, right? Just because you just know that challenges are part of it. Like it's like if me and you, Dave, we were going to go into a ring and we're going to spar. I have to know that you're trying to hit me. I have to know that that's part of the challenge. So we understand challenges. So we're not running away from challenges. We're kind of almost looking for these challenges. So nothing is really kind of hard, except for, like I said, because Kathy and myself, we're not so much in it just for the income. We're in it for the outcome. And that outcome is we want to be able to help other people have the success that we have, or achieve, whatever it is that they achieve. Like I said, I've been in the industry. I absolutely love this industry. And my passion is helping someone else to see the business the same way that we see it, right? So the challenge would always be duplication. How do we duplicate more people? How do we help more people? And there are a lot of people that we bring into the business, and we see so much potential in them, but sometimes maybe they don't see that same potential. I always believe in seeing someone for who they can become rather than who they are. And so they can only become that. But at the time, we have to understand business is business. Sometimes people come and sometimes people go, and it's just part of the business. And I think that's still a little bit of a challenge here and there that we get. But otherwise, we absolutely love, what we get to do. And the best part of the business, like Kathy, is her favorite part.
It's traveling. That's my favorite part, is traveling and meeting new people that we would never have met without this business. And we have families, all around the globe, and that's exciting. I mean, when we go to Australia, we have an Australia team over there.
Well, we were just in Vietnam on a trip, and we had an Indonesian lady with us. We had an Italian. We had, someone from Australia, someone from Vietnam with us. It's amazing when you kind of get out there and kind of see what this world is. I always say that if you don't travel, you're only reading one page of a book.
Yeah, I love that. I think everybody should get out of their own country, at least for at least 6 months to a year, just to see what else is out there.
That's right.
Well, I'm curious, like, you've been a lot of places. What's your favorite place you've ever been? If you have one. I know maybe it might be hard to choose, but
I think for us, it's not so much of location, it's the people that we are traveling with.
Yeah.
And the memories that we're making with them. I think that's the main.
Well, that's something I always say. It doesn't really matter where you're at. It's just who you're with, right? Because you can be at beautiful places with an annoying person, and it wouldn't be so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But if you're with, if you and I, Dave, we can just sit on your porch or something, and it'll be the best time. And it's just the company that you have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll take that answer. But if you had to choose, no, just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. What would you tell somebody who's looking at this business and they're like, I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe they're like, I don't think I can do it, or maybe they're like, I don't know if it works. Like, what would you tell somebody who's looking at this like seriously? Just any advice you might give them.
From an accounting brain, right? There's nothing really that you're going to lose out. To get started in this industry, and especially with Neora, it's just such a small investment that there's nothing to lose, but so much to gain.
Yeah. And I'm sure when you're thinking negatively, whether you can do it or not, the thing that you have to understand is everybody that is in this industry that is successful was a beginner at one point. We were all newbies. We were all trying to figure it out at one point. But if someone else can do it, the same can be done for you. And it's even better because this is probably one of the only industry where it's a win-win situation. Right? At a job is a win-lose situation where if you're training someone to take your spot, that person is taking your spot, right? So, but here you have people that have already done it, that are ahead of you, who has invested into you so that you can have success, because that's how they win. You have to win for them to win.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it. And that was for me. So I didn't know the industry when I first was exposed to it. But if someone was willing to coach me and show me how to do it, I knew that I could learn. I knew that I could do it, and I knew I would be successful. So take my advice, trust us, get started.
Love it. Love it. What's next? What's next for you guys? What are what are your goals for this year? Like what are you looking at doing next?
Kind of like Pinky in the Brain, right? What will be the goal is take over the world. Well, I think that our goal it'll continuously be to expand the company, to move into new markets, to share, to meet more people, to bring more people in, to help more people have the success in the business. One of the joys in our business, besides the traveling, is to be able to cheer on the people we bring in, to see them have success, to see them on the trip, to see them win the car, to see them all those different things. To walk that stage is one of the biggest joy for us. So we're going to continue that mission, continue that vision to expand and grow the company and connect with more people and share with people what this amazing business can do.
Awesome. I love it. Well, you guys are absolutely amazing. I've loved getting to know you. Loved spending time in all of the amazing different places that we've been, and can't wait to see what's next. Where we're gonna see each other next time.
We'll be in Cabo with you.
We will be in Cabo. That's right. We will be in Cabo. Great job. All right. Well, thank you guys. This is going to be great. I'm super, super excited to have you on the show, and best of luck. Can't wait to see what you do next, and we'll see where that goes.
It's our pleasure. It's been an honor. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.
That was Dave Fleming talking with Dinh and Cathy Ngo about their network marketing experience and how it was transformed by Neora. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you learned something from it, please share it with a friend or colleague who you think would also benefit. And if you're new to Built to Win, we invite you to go back and listen to our story from the beginning. You can find us wherever you download your favorite podcasts. And while you're there, please rate us and leave a review to let us know what you think of the show.